Welcome to Bizarre Crimes episode 3, Retired to the Ground. Now, retirement for many of us would be relaxing, possibly taking up a hobby, but for one Californian woman, she turned her hand to something more deadly. Dorothea Puente was 59 when she was arrested in 1988. She killed 9 people in 6 years. An abusive childhood and a few marriages. Dorothea had been in and out of jail before her descent into murder. Forging checks was her speciality. It was when Dorothea became a nurse's aide that she took on the F Street boarding house. She would take in elderly and disabled boarders, most of whom would be found dead and buried in her garden. In 1982, Ruth Monroe took over a space at Dorothea's house. She was found dead not long after. Police were told she was depressed and had overdosed, and they ruled it as suicide. It was several weeks later that 74-year-old Malcolm Mackenzie said that Dorothea had drugged him to steal his pension. For this, she was jailed. While in jail, she had a pen pal, 77-year-old Everson Gilmouth. He would pick her up from jail 3 years later when she was released. His body was then found 3 months after. He was found decomposing in a box by the river. It would take 3 years before he was identified. Back at the Puente house, neighbours became suspicious when one of the handymen suddenly disappeared. It wasn't until Alvaro Montoya went mysteriously missing, though, that police got involved. They started to dig up the property on the 11th of November 1988, and what they found was 7 bodies in the garden. Dorothea Puente was charged with the murder of 9 people. Forensics showed that some of the victims were suffocated, probably with a pillow. One of the victims, later identified as Betty Palmer, had her head, hands and legs missing, and they have never been recovered. Dorothea Puente was 82 when she died in prison in 2011. Until her last breath, she claimed innocence, stating that all of her tenants died of natural causes.